Hello, hello, hello. Aurelia Davis coming to you. It's been a minute, but I'm back. um, I've been away, but I've really been looking at the field of education. Just so many things going on, especially with our election in place coming up in November, and a lot of things you wouldn't be surprised as to how much politics affect education, how much politics affect education and things that we so that just shows that the world evolves around education. Everything evolves around education. The war, the economics, all of those things evolve around education, which brings me to my next topic. I basically was able, googling something and went online and found an article about 51 things that should be taught in schools that they should teachers should teach in schools, but they don't. And so I looked at that and I said, "Oh my goodness!" And it just that list was just so interesting that I said, "Okay, well let's talk about that a little bit." So for the next couple of days, with maybe a 10 or 15 minutes at a time, I'm going to be tapping into some of these subjects. They range from economics all the way to aerospace. Yeah, things that have been taught. Well, some of these things may have never been taught in schools before. May have never been taught in schools before, but they are bringing them up and they want to know, is it something that a child could use or a child could benefit from? And I would even say that a lot of these particular topics are strictly, it looked like they would be for adults. They look like they would be something the adults would be interested in, and they have been taught as life skills for adults, but at the same time they're saying now that maybe this is something that we should teach our students: economics, financing, how to take care of money, how to do banking and all of those things. And I know those are things that have been taken up and done in the past, but never with a major emphasis as far as children being able to manage their money or manage their allowances and so on and so forth. So in the meantime, today we're going to talk about financial literacy. Financial literacy. That's going to be my topic today, of something that should possibly be taught in schools that's not. Now, I'm going to be honest, I did not do a whole lot of research to even see if this is something that's being taught in the high schools, but it be taught earlier in the high schools. In other words, even with children and our little ones, when those preschoolers are in that kitchen, or when they're playing store, they're paying out money, to get buy different items for their house and their little houses and their play schools. And if they're giving them real money or even just dealing with monopoly, you have the funds, you have the money and whatever. Children need to know, I do believe children need to know exactly the value of a dollar, how much you would need to buy a candy bar, how much would you need to buy a ball and bat and those types of things. So these are some things that I don't think will be wasted on children. I don't think it would be wasted on children, but something in the that's being taught in the classroom that a child could use as far as life skills. And that's exactly what they're called: life skills. Life skills. So when I think about financial literacy, I think about, unfortunately, about a lot of poor parents and a lot of the poor society, the society where people are struggling financially. And it makes you go all the way back to, I'm going to just be honest, the haves and the have nots. But at the same time, some funding and some funds are coming through the hands of individuals. But if they don't know how to manage those funds, in the right way, where is that going to leave them? So in the meantime, when you're looking at young parents and you're looking at children with young parents, and when they get so much money, and the first thing they do is run out to McDonald's. Well, when I was younger, I couldn't run out to McDonald's. My parents, McDonald's was not around. So what basically ended up happening is that my mom would cook every day. And even if it was a can of SpaghettiOs and a can of corn and some biscuits, we did eat. But basically, she fed the whole family on one or two cans of staples that was in the house. Whereas when you're going to McDonald's and Burger King and these fast food restaurants, now you are spending a lot of money. You're spending a lot of money. And unfortunately, some of our children, they expect this to happen on a daily basis, without even realizing how much it costs mom or dad to just pay for a happy meal, pay for a happy meal. So the mindset of financial freedom has to come from within the house. But at the same time, it can still be pushed and taught within the classroom. It still can be pushed and taught within the classroom. And so, as your students are sitting in there in that classroom, open up a store. Start a store with, of course, regular paper money or whatever, play money, especially with the younger children. And of course, they'll be able to tell you that this is not a real dollar. This is not real coin. So they may want it, but train them with the artificial money first, and then let them know. This will also give them skills ahead of time skills in math, subtracting, multiplying, division, and adding. If those children are able to deal with the real coins in the classroom, as early as preschool, they know what a dollar looks like. They know what a quarter looks like, but do they know the denominations of the dollars? What a $1 bill, a $5 bill, $10 bill, $20 bill, and go on beyond that. Does a child know? And then to put that $1 bill up, then for that child to know there's 100 pennies in that $1 bill, 4 quarters, so on and so forth, 10 dimes, 20 nickels, and a preschooler, they can understand that. If they're on their little phones and laptops and things like that, pressing buttons and things like that, and I'm sure there's some apps that basically that does emphasize financial literacy. So that's the first thing. That's the first thing we're talking about is financial literacy. I believe it should be something that should be taught in schools. I think it might not be to the point where it's part of the core curriculum, but I think if teachers get together within their groups and decide that this is something that they feel their students need, then do it. Then do it. And a lot of times you can create your own curriculum about financial literacy with the preschoolers and with the kindergartners and so on and so forth. I remember our students basically learning about coins and everything in third grade. And that doesn't mean that financial literacy was not in place at the time, but basically to be able for them to just take the real money and work with it and know. And then beyond buying at the store, what would be cheaper to buy? A hamburger from a restaurant, or for you to go to a grocery store and get buns and ground beef and everything it takes to make the hamburger? How many would you be able to feed off of that same amount of financial, what you spent for the children, what you spent at a restaurant, and what you would be able to spend at your home? And so as parents are basically working with their children, then they need to let them know how much things cost. It's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that. We were basically taught that when we were coming up, because my mom, we didn't really have a lot of funds. And so my mom and father had to let us know on a regular basis what it costs for us to have certain things, and, so on and so forth. So financial literacy, that's the first thing. That's our first thing that we are talking about as far as a subject that should be taught in school today. And at the same time, I believe you can start teaching financial literacy from preschool all the way up through high school. Okay, preschool all the way up through high school, some kind of form of some kind of curriculum in place to let children know the value of a dollar, the value of a quarter, the value of $10, so on and so forth. I don't think they're too young to learn that. This is Aurelia Davis. I'm coming to you. We'll have another subject on tomorrow. Take care and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.